Hello, hello, hello. So in the last video, I told you about what goes beyond intention, right? And I shared one word that takes you from your intention to actually having that dream, that vision in your life. Now, to be very, very honest, the reason why I know such a lot about that is because I'm going to put two hands up. I sometimes find myself saying I'll do things, talking a big game, and month after month, quarter after quarter, year after year, that desire is still not in my life. And so I told you it was a huge revelation for me. I basically understood something. And without this one thing, those dreams will not come to pass. And I'll tell you what it is now. It is whether or not you are willing to pay the price. You see, when you say that you want something, but you're not willing to pay the price for it, then that means there is something that's more important to you. I'll give you a few examples. One of my favorite brands is Hermes. Beautiful, amazing craftsmanship. The best of the best. The crème de la crème in so many ways. And for those of you who know the brand well, you know how much anything in Hermes costs. So you don't just saunter into a Hermes store or say you want one of the Hermes accessories, except you're willing to pay the price. Does it cost a lot? Absolutely. But is it absolutely worth it? I think so. Now, if you're not willing to pay the price for Hermes, then maybe you should go to H&M, which is not a bad brand, but it's definitely not as pricey as Hermes. So, when you want something, when you desire something, you get to be willing to pay the price. And for me, for many years after my corporate career, when I burnt out, I wasn't willing to pay the price. I wasn't willing to pay the price of energy. I wasn't willing to pay the price of time. I wasn't willing to pay the price of maybe even looking foolish, doing something that was new to me. I wasn't willing to pay the price of perhaps being criticized. I wasn't willing to pay the price of failure, possible failure. Can you see how many barriers I had put between me and my goal? And so I was saying I wanted this, but I wasn't willing to pay the price, and so it wasn't happening. So what is it in your life that you want? What will it take to get it? And are you willing to pay the price? I have the most amazing example. Calendly is a booking tool, and many of you know it. It's great. It basically saves us hours and hours of going back and forth via mail in order to find the best time. In order to find a time for a meeting, I basically send you my link. You find the time that works for you, and we're done. Simple. And so the founder of Calendly, he is the most incredible person. I mean, I just bless him. I'm just like, wow, how amazing. At the time that he actually founded Calendly, there was actually a war going on in Ukraine. And his developer was based there. But because he'd maxed out all his credit cards, because he'd taken out personal loans, because he'd emptied his life savings, he still flew in against all the advice and he got it done. Now, that company, Calendly, is one of the 250 companies in the United States considered to be unicorn companies. Isn't that just absolutely incredible? And he's not some trust fund baby. He is Nigerian. He was living in the United States, working for a company called Dell, decided to fly and do his thing, and boom, here we are. But he was willing to pay the price. He was willing to max out. He's willing to risk. And so there is nothing that is truly extraordinary that comes from sitting in your comfort zone. Every single dream that you have means you're going to get willing to pay the price of going outside your comfort zone. And for people, it's different. It might be, oh, I'm scared of public speaking. In fact, I'll tell you something about that. When I was 17, I lived in the United Kingdom at the time. I still do now. I've come back. And I was part of this club called Model United Nations. So basically, we had this huge halls of students from all over the world would come, and we would actually have sessions as if we were in the United Nations. And I remember that in my school, which was in Croydon at the time, and there was the president of our club, and he said, I'm okay with everybody in this club because we're going to The Hague to participate in a Model United Nations that was even bigger. And he said, I'm only worried about two people. He mentioned one other guy called Hero, and he mentioned my name. I didn't say anything, but I was fuming. I was so annoyed. When I got to The Hague, I was in the environmental committee. There were 300 people, so much bigger than the Model United Nations we'd had locally. Every single time there was an amendment to make, there was something to say, I had my PAN card up, I was called to the stage, and I enrolled 300 people in the agenda that I had. What fueled me then was, how dare you? So it was actually an interesting situation, because that criticism actually got me fueled to overcome my fear of public speaking, my fear of looking stupid. So I moved from being paralyzed by fear to being propelled by anger and annoyance. It is true, but it got me moving. And till today, many people think, oh yes, Bolutiwi, you love public speaking, you're extremely confident. The fact is, I don't really. But I have a choice. And the choice is simple. I can stay in the comfort of not speaking publicly. I love one-to-ones, by the way. But I can stay in the comfort of not speaking publicly and then live my life without purpose. Or I can step into purpose that is much bigger than any fears, doubts, or hesitations that I have. So, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to pay the price? Is that dream that you have more important than any of those prices? And I'll tell you a little secret. This is a good one. When you get willing to pay the price, what you find is that sometimes you don't even have to pay the price. But that willingness is what activates in creation, activates in the universe, tells the universe you are serious, you are ready. So yes, traction is great, but you get to be willing to pay the price. And I'll leave you with this, and you're going to get this. If anybody wants to dig for gold, or for diamonds, or whatever it is you want to dig for, and instead of getting there and saying, fantastic, here's the shovel, here's the bucket, or the fancy machinery that you have, and you simply say, Fantastic. How much is it? Let's go. And you start asking, but maybe the shovel is expensive. Oh, I'm not sure I can afford the bucket. All this machinery. I mean, are we really serious? Well, like, if you're not willing to pay the price, if you're not willing to invest in yourself or in whatever it is that is required to get you where you want to go, then stop talking about it. Because honestly, you're joking. It's tough love. In any case, till we meet again, I want to wish you love and light. Bye bye.